Okay, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the characters and the units that are in each army set. There is approximately 37 cards um, in each army. Now, each army comes with its own unique abilities and traits. Um, some of the some of the other armies come with different abilities, and we'll talk about that because some of them give you gold, some of them give you extra cannon power, some of them give you an airship. But it depends on which army you want. Now, this one in particular, the orcs, um, it comes with an extra cannon card, and that is the ability of the orcs. You can see right here is the Orc of War cannon, and what it does is attack a 4 12-sided dice and 2 6-sided dice. And that's pretty powerful. It's pretty good. Its move is 8-sided dice, and then of course once you use it, there can only be one on the board at all times. So we're gonna go ahead and put that back. These are the ability cards. There's 4 of them, and you gotta collect up to 4 before you can use the cannon card. Otherwise, there's regular cannons that you can buy, and they do their own damage. Each one has its own set of cost. Its attack is 20 and a 12-sided dice. It comes with servants, archers, warriors, a king, ships and towers, and a orc. Well, in this case, it's not a castle; it's an orc fort. Now, your orc fort is very important. That's obviously one of the most important cards in the game because if this card dies, you lose the game. There are a lot of different ways you can play Castle Shield. Start up. You can start off with just one servant, or you can start off with an army altogether. It depends on how the game and everybody wants to play and how they want to play. But it's really fun either way. Some people like to start with gathering resources and build their armies up, and some people just like, all right, let's just go to war. So you start off with a set amount of warriors and a set amount of units. Now, keep in mind that we're going to go through each one, but the servants are very important, even if you do not start off with servants. Not only gathers resources, but we'll get that in a second, but also can build towers and walls. So if you and ships. So if you want to build a tower or a wall or a ship, you're going to need a servant anyway. Each army comes with its own unique set of dice. So this one comes with a 20-sided dice, and which is fairly large for this set, and a 12-sided dice. The 12-sided dice is for movement. The 20-sided dice is for attack. And sometimes you're going to need a little bit more dice for give or take each army's specialty. Another way to win the game without destroying the castle is by victory coins. And you gain a victory coin by killing characters, the enemy characters, with the king card. The king card, if he destroys any of the enemy's cards, you get a coin. And if you get the 6 coins, you win an economic victory coin. So you win the game by collecting coins, 6 of them, or you can kill the castle. So this guy is very important. A lot of people have a hard time getting the gold and the food. Each king in each army set, in particular this one, is 100 HP, 100 health, starting with. So if you can knock this guy out, it's very important, but he gathers a lot of resources just to get him. Okay, so warriors are really great because they cost 15 food, 10 gold. Their attack is 20-sided dice, and their move is 12-sided dice, and their health is 75. They're very strong. The only thing about warriors is that they're a melee type, and you have to get close to attack. So if you're going to be smart, a lot of people usually go straight with archers because they're great at range, but these guys are great for knocking out buildings and towers and ships if you want to get the job done fast. The only problem is you just got to get up to the castle or the tower with, and usually these guys take a lot of damage before they can start doing damage. The archers are, I would say, pretty much the go-to warriors class units. They are really great at attacking far away from range, and they get the job done without even having to go in and get close. As people go straight for the archers, you get a lot of these guys and do a lot of damage from far away, and it's really cool because you could do attacks with just range from where you're standing without having to get up close, and that's usually a good strategic way of playing Castle Shield. Is usually using the archers to get the job done. And the problem is they're very weak, so because they're only at 60 health, if you encounter a monster or a dragon, it's great, but you go through enough of these guys, they will die out eventually. So you want to be able to keep them grouped together, or um, have them placed at a spot where they're not going to be too easily damaged. Ships, ships and towers are really cool. They need to be built with the servants. Towers are really great. So this is the basic set of the army. They come really with just a small, simple set, but it's like 6 each. So that's one set of one army is basically 6 characters of each type, and they do different things. And in this case, these are the orcs, so they're going to be strength is in cannons. Okay, so I set up the board. I put resources all over the place. The resources go on the board randomly. There is no specifically set spot for each resource chip. It just is random. So place them out, space them out however you see wish. I think the entire set of resource comes with 72 chips. You don't have to use all of them, but you can use all of them if you want, or you could just use half of them. Depending on whatever balance you feel is all right for the game. You can throw a lot on, or you can throw less on, depending on how you want to play the game. In this situation, we just put enough to get us through for the example of gameplay. So when you start the game off, you start off with a castle and a servant. In this case, it's going to be a orc fort and a servant. And as you can see, I placed them next to each other. The first player can go anywhere. They can place their castle anywhere they want. And then, of course, the next player can only put their castle 15 squares apart. So, but in this case, we're only going to start with just the one where we have a set and the one servant. And then, of course, it would be time to move. Now, what we're going to want to do is the first thing we're going to want to do immediately is look for resource chips. And we're going to use our servant to do that. And each resource comes in a different set. There's food, there's wood, there's metal, and I think there's gold. So the thing is that each one gives you a different number that you turn over. Once you turn over the resource, you just leave it there because there is a resource chip on the board that says reset all resources as well as monsters. And we haven't got the monsters yet, but we're just talking about resources right now. Now, my servant can move 12 with a 12-sided dice. So I'm going to roll a 12-sided dice to roll for this servant. And let's see what we got here. We got a 7. So because I rolled a 7, now I have the range of 7 spaces to go anywhere I want with the servant. And you don't have to use all of them. You just need enough to get to where you want to go. Now, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and move the servant 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go ahead and move him right here because I can take up both of these resource chips without having to move all over the board. And I've placed my servant here because I can pick them up each with one turn. So there are 3 phases to each turns. And the beginning phase is buying a character, which is going to be any character that you can buy as long as you have the resources for it. But if you buy a character, your turn ends, so you're going to want to wait till the next turn. Then you're going to roll your move dice, which is a 12-sided dice. And whatever number that's given, that's how much range you have to move your characters around. You can move all of them around. You don't have to use just the one. And then phase 2 is attacking. That's the battle phase. And then phase 3 is retreat and heal. So retreat, you're going to have to roll a 6-sided dice or higher. A 6-sided dice with a 4 or higher to successfully retreat. Only a servant may gather resources. And once the servant is touching your resource grid, draw a resource and add the amount in the tracker sheet. And I'll go ahead and put the tracker sheet right in the corner of the screen right here. The tracker sheet will show you exactly how much resources you have. So you start off with a standard game starts you right off with 50 food, 75 gold, 75 wood, and 35 metal. And because of that, you're able to give it gives you a little boost of what you want to do. So you don't have to start off with just one servant. In fact, before you move your servant around, you can go ahead and buy a couple characters right off the start. But in this situation, we're moving our servant around to gather resources. So on the tracker sheet, you'll see that we have servant one going on, and he's at full health. So we're just going to go ahead and leave that blank. Okay, so let's see what resources I got going on right now. The first one, I'm going to flip over 25 wood. So I'm going to go ahead and put that right there, leave that up. Then I'm going to go ahead and put 25 on the tracker sheet and add that to my wood resource. And then I'm going to go ahead and flip the next one over. Metal. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that right there. I flip it over. So now I'll go ahead and add 10 metal to my tracker sheet, my resources. And then, of course, that's all I can do right now. So I end my turn. So now that I got my servant going on gathering resources, my next move is I'm going to go ahead and buy two more characters from the resources that I have. And I'm going to go ahead and buy two more archers. And they have to be touching the fort or the castle square. So I place them down, and now my turn's over. And so the next person goes, and then we return back to the game, and then I roll for the 12-sided dice. Now the archer has a move of 12-sided dice as well. So that means I can roll 12-sided dice, move both archers and the servant if I want to in one turn. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, I roll the dice, and my space is 12. So, so now that I have 12 range movement, I'm going to go ahead and position my servant and my archers where I want them to be. And in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and just pop them forward. I'll have them go ahead and guard the servant here because I don't know what that one's going to be. That ship right there could be a monster or it could be a resource. And if it's a monster, I have to fight it. Okay, so with the monsters, each one comes with its own set of health and attack, just like anything else. But there's going to be a different range of different monsters. The most powerful one that we have so far is the dragon, and the dragon is at 100 health, and it attacks with 20-sided dice, but it drops 100 gold. Now each monster will give you a reward for killing it, and you can gather those resources and put them in rather than just going around gather resources. You can kill monsters and get the resource from them too. In this case, I want to make sure that what I'm flipping over is going to be, just in case it is a monster, I want to be guarded by my archers in this case, so that if I do encounter a monster, they can attack rather than the servant. And we'll go ahead and demonstrate that right now. Well, in this case, I got 15 wood, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. And I'm going to find a monster chip. Okay, so in this situation, we got a spider. So it's this giant spider, which is at 60 health, and what it's going to do is it's going to attack with a 20-sided dice, but it drops 25 gold and 15 food. So that's pretty good. Now, what we're going to want to do is, because it's at 60, that's pretty high. My servant is only at 40, so the chances of my servant surviving this is not very good. So let's do a battle and see who wins. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and roll. I'm going to go ahead and attack first. And I got a 14. So now we subtract 14 from the giant spider's health from 60. So now we're going to go ahead and attack from the spider to the servant, which the spider gets to roll a 20-sided dice too. And we got from attack from the spider a 1. You can't really see it, it's all resin and whatnot, but you can see it 1. So the spider did 1 damage to the servant. So the servant's only going to be at 39 health now. So the battle will rage on until either one dies. Now, in this situation, um, if you wanted to retreat from the battle, you would have to roll a six-sided dice of 4 or higher. I'm going to go ahead and retreat my servant so that my archer can get in there and fight the spider. So I'm going to go ahead and roll. I rolled a six-sided dice. I got a 5. So I'm going to go ahead and go back 5 spaces. Actually, I can go anywhere I want to, just in the facility. So I'm going to go ahead and march forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Now I've gone that way. And now the spider is still in play, and my archer can finish the battle with the spider. Unfortunately, because I retreated from the spider is now back at full health. So both my archers are actually in range of the spider. Archer 1 can fight the spider without even touching it, but he only gets one shot because there's no counterattack from the spider. So Archer 2 is going to go ahead and attack because it's the one touching the spider. And we do a battle for that. In this case, we're going to go ahead and have the spider lose. And when the spider loses, we leave him pointed up because there's a button on here that says reset all monsters. And we walk away with him turned up, knowing that he's already dead. And so with that, we get the resource from the spider, and Archer 2 walks away victoriously. Now, in this case, Archer 2 took 30 damage. So now we're at 30 health for Archer 2, and we're going to put 30 health on Archer 2 on a tracker sheet. That way we know exactly how much health he has. And also, the servant is down to 39 HP as well, so we're going to put that on the tracker sheet as well. So you continue on. You can continue moving the servant around, gathering resources, or you can buy characters and build your army up a little bit. And that is the basic beginning phases of the game before battle is taken across the way with the enemies.